back. So
right on.
Yeah. So
well, hopefully when this airs on Hidden Gem Broadcasting.
Yeah.
Okay, the internet station out of New Brunswick that we're partnered up with now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hopefully some of the people that are listening to this show, it'll be the time that you're up there, and
you never know.
maybe you never know, like, you can pick up a couple more shows.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, Dan, let's go back and let's just, you're on what, this album number 4 now?
This is the 4th one, yeah.
And I think I met you back album number 1, maybe
probably
album 1 or album 2.
Yeah.
Riding the Rods.
Yeah. That's the first single off of the new record. Yeah.
And that's an amazing song. I mean, every time you tell the story about you tell it. You know much better than I do.
Well, it's. So that song came out of, I met some guys were up here to judge the Maritimes to Memphis competition. And one of them, his name was Michael Frank, and who had played with Honey Boy Edwards. And Honey Boy Edwards was kind of one of the last real, first of that generation, the first ambassadors of the blues, And so he had done a documentary on him, and they actually premiered the documentary at the library in Dartmouth. And so I went to see it, and they're talking to Honey Boy, and they're talking about how back in the Depression days and times were tough, and not just musicians, but guys looking for work went from town to town to town. They would just jump on a freight train. And we all kind of, heard stories of that, and they called it riding the rails, where they'd hop on a boxcar. So I knew that part, but what I didn't know is that the owners, of course, didn't want these people on their trains, so they would lock the boxcars so they couldn't get in. So Honey Boy Edwards was telling the story of how they would get in and ride actually underneath the train, riding on the down with the brake rods, and they called that riding the rods. And I thought, the idea for the song came out of that, but then I thought, the very rich were traveling on those trains as well, right? And they're in these luxury cars, and just like a floorboard below them. There's these people they're so close to them, but they're like worlds apart. You have the very rich to the very poorest, right?
Yeah, so, one that's not thinking about anything, and one that's hanging on for dear life.
Absolutely, yeah. And not a lot's changed.
No, well, you got that right. Today the rich are still riding along in that car, and the rest of us are hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, but we got to buy lottery tickets, so.
Oh yeah, sure. Give the government some more money. Go out and get hit by lightning first.
Yeah. So you're going to concentrate on the solo thing?
Well, I mean, I have been.
Yeah, it's economically, it's probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's I mean, one of the things for me, I feel like really privileged to be able to, especially be able to play original music, and one of probably the biggest obstacle to being able to do that is letting people know that it's there, and that's why I love what you guys are doing. It's you're such a gift to, and such an honor, that you guys are spreading the word about the musicians. But because all of us grew up in a generation of live music, and our whole life, it's not an exaggeration to say, but our whole life has been shaped by the music that we played and listened to. Right? That's and that hasn't changed. It's I self-promotion, but I've been nominated for an award 8 times in never won. And last month at Music Nova Scotia, I was nominated again for Blues Album of the Year, and so I went and not expecting to win at all, and I did, And so one of the things that I said, because everybody there was younger than me, and I think we would all agree, like what I said was like, as you go through this journey of being a musician, the passion only grows stronger with age. You only get more passionate about it, Yeah. And so one of the biggest hurdles is just letting people know that it's out there. When like our generation, we grew up with live music.
Yeah, we didn't have to wonder if it was out there. We knew it was out
there.
We
it was
could
there,
pick and choose.
Exactly, it was there all the time. But also, it meant a lot more. Even in high school, if there was a dance and it was somebody spinning records, well, we called that a sock hop, and nobody went.
Yeah.
But if it was a band, everybody went. And then we also had, in Port Hood, every Thursday night in the fire hall we had coffee house, and it was the solo people, and I think the market for that is still there, but it's just letting people know about it, So that's what my whole push to go solo is to get out, and see those people who, connect. Yeah. And that's the privilege of it, is connecting with it. It'd be nice to do it with a band, but, there's several things, obviously economics to travel around with a band. It's not possible to play 6 nights a week anymore, so, it's hard to do that. Yeah. The other thing is too, though, a lot of the clubs that are having bands are really not catering to our demographic, and with a couple of things, it's more maybe for the younger crowd where, starting times are way too late.
Well, yeah, who wants to go to a show that starts at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, right?
And the other thing too is that I think bands need to take responsibility for this as well, and that is that a lot of bands just play too loud. Yeah. And so, for example, if I'm going out with my friends, it's not like it was in university where we were going out every night, and it didn't matter. If I'm going out with friends now, it's friends I only get to see maybe once or twice a month, a year, if I'm lucky. So while we're out, we want to dance, and we want to sing, we want to have a good time, but we also want to be able to talk. And so I think, as you guys know, the gear these days, the gear is totally, it's so good.
Well, that's
you
it.
You don't have to be loud,
Well, and you don't need, the beautiful
and nobody wants it anymore.
No, and the beautiful thing, I think now, like you take the older musicians, they're all cursing the young guys because they carried around cube vans full of gear. Right now, a guy walks into a gig and he carries it in one hand, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, like you came in here tonight, you got a suitcase with your pedal board in it and your guitar.
You must have bands asking you to record with them and stuff.
I used to, because I used to run a recording studio. Yeah. So I would play on people's records and stuff like that. But not so much. I don't have as much time for it anymore. I'd love to. I've got a couple of little projects coming up that I'm gonna do. That maybe we'll come back and chat about.
Because I know there was a band around here that were looking to do their second CD, and I don't know who it was. What's that over there?
They were called...
Ladies and gentlemen, you can't see it, but there's a picture of the Boogie Boys on the wall, and right in the middle of it is a picture of Dan Doiron and his lead guitar. So he'd be the new lead guitar player for the Boogie Boys.
Oh, that would be an honor to play with the Boogie Boys. I loved your record, man. That was great. Yeah.
So now, Dan, the house concert venue is something that's really, for single artists, is really becoming, one of the mainstays, and there's some really good rooms that are opening up.
Yeah, the hardest part about the house concert market is that it's a very hard market to break into. And so that I'm still in the process of doing that, but it's also as a singer songwriter playing your own stuff.
Yes,
it's the ultimate. Because so many things. Number one is, please do not play any cover music. Don't we want to hear your own music.
Yes.
Number two is, it's not good enough to just play the music. We want to know, where did that song come from? Why did you write that song?
Yeah.
Number three, you just meet everyone that is there to listen to the music. It's the number one thing, And I remember when I first started it was like crazy scary. Like the first one that I ever did, there was 28 people in the living room, and they were about 1.5 feet away from me. And I just remember looking, and one of the guys in the front row had his arms folded, and he was just looking at me, as if to say, go. Entertain me, and I was scared shit. I think I lost 5 pounds that night.
Oh my God.
But you meet so many nice people, and so many, and a lot of them, are musicians as well, right? So they're or they're singer songwriters themselves. Yeah.
So now this coming year, you want to go to the UK?
Yeah. We're putting some plans together to hopefully do that with the band.
So now you got the nod from Music Nova Scotia, the Music Week Nova Scotia this year. You won Blues Album of the Year.
I did. I figured if they hang around long enough and they can go away, they'll give you something, right?
And now you're up for the Maple Blues Award.
Yeah, for New Artist of the Year.
New Artist of the Year. Hey, you know what? And everybody says, what do you mean New Artist of the Year? He's been around forever. No, people that are supposed to be paying attention.
James in that category.
Yeah. He's thank goodness he's not in the same category. I don't think, no.
But it's not an overnight sensation.
No, basically what they do is, if you've never been nominated
before, you can be. So
you're.
But I mean, you're in. That nomination that puts you in stead with some pretty big names that have been nominated for that position in other Maple Blues Awards.
Well, it's all. I guess it's all part of trying to build a resume, it's kind of what we were talking about there before, getting back to, there are those out there that say there's not an interest in live music anymore, and the interest is there. It's just getting the word out there, and that you have something that maybe people, not everybody's going to dig it, and it's one of the, things about having the word blues moniker in your description of what you do, that many people have a perceived idea of what kind of music that is, and it's not usually very accurate.
Yes.
Like a lot of the music that we grew up with, like tons of it, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, all of these guys, even all of the early rock and roll tunes, they're all blues tunes.
Well, yeah, but they were all called blue. They were called rock and rollers.
Rock and roll.
But it wasn't rock and roll at all. It was blues.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it all came from. So it's kind of, that sort of, it can be a double-edged sword kind of thing, because if you're trying to appeal to a wider audience, which all of us are, then sometimes people say, "Oh, well, I'm not really into blues," but they don't really know what it is,
Exactly, and and I mean, we talk about it all the time here on the Wolf's Den, how much I just completely and totally don't like boxes.
Yeah,
and I don't like labels.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes, you play you play the blues.
Well,
but there are traditional blues players that would say, no, you don't.
No, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then there's other people say, oh, well, yeah, he does. He plays contemporary
blues. That's right. Yeah.
Right? And that's case, he plays rock and roll.
Well, yeah. And the thing is, you have that in every genre. You have, how many times you hear, well, that's not country.
Yeah.
Right? And you hear the same thing with jazz guys. We used to call them jazz snobs.
Yeah.
It had to be jazz or it was nothing,
Yeah.
So it's out there. I just like to call it music,
Thank
because
you very much.
I have, as you said, 4 albums out. There's only, in all 4 albums, there's 10 tunes on every one. There's only one song that's actually a 12-bar blues. So there's 39 of them that aren't, But I mean, I came out of it. I'm very, very much influenced by the blues, and I came out of more of the rock style of blues. You know,
Yes.
like I said, when I was growing up in Port Hood, this music was like, I hadn't really heard much of it before. It was when bands would come in, you know, from Halifax or Sydney or whatever, and you'd go over it, and they were playing like Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin, and they were playing, you know, the Blues Breakers and all that kind of stuff, you know. So it came out of that, and then, you know, B.B. King, I got to you know, get into that kind of music. Then it was Stevie Ray Vaughan was another one, you know, that influenced, and so all of those influences. But the thing that,
and every one of them a different style.
well, but here's the thing about it, Wayne, is that, you know, and I understand, I love the tradition of the blues. I understand exactly where it came from. You know, I do blues in schools to teach kids about where, you know, basically all North American pop music came out of the blues. So, of course, we owe it a great debt. But the thing about all those artists that I just mentioned, what's the thing that we love about them all? Is that they took it somewhere where it never was before.
Exactly.
They took the music and they did their own thing with it, and they made it something new. You know, and we can go on and on. We can go Johnny Lang after that. You know, we can go to, you know, all different kinds of musicians who've done the same thing. Kebmo, taking it to different places, you know.
Yeah.
So while I respect the traditions of it, you know, some of the more very traditional blues aficionados will say, well, that's not blues and that's not blues, and because it's not the old style.
Not what they think.
It's not the early version of the blues. And again, there's nothing wrong with that.
Hold that thought. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break right here on the Wolf's Den on CIOE 97.5, the home of East Coast music. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And we're back. You know, we've been talking a little bit off camera here about festivals and stuff like that. But, you know, like you said, in today's world, it's extremely difficult for a musician, especially one that's made the choice that this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to be a musician.
Right.
In today's society, that's very hard to do. Okay? For one thing, society doesn't really value music anymore as far as dollar-wise. Entertainment-wise, they love it. Mm-hmm. But dollar-wise, you know, you tell them they got to pay $5 to get into a show.
Yeah.
And they go, what?
Yeah.
I thought it was free.
Yeah.
But they'll go to Starbucks and pay $8 for a coffee that somebody draws a pretty little leaf on the top.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, or they'll take an album and they'll download it and they'll give it to all their friends.
Yeah.
They have no idea the amount of work and the amount of energy and the amount of talent that went in to produce that. Mm. Festivals.
Yeah.
You know, to drive around your summer, to drive hundreds of miles, to go to play for an hour or two.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, here's my take on all of that. We could probably sit down and we could talk about any vocation.
Yes.
Right? And any, you know, if you're a plumber, if you're you know, a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, whatever.
Yeah.
Your gig has changed drastically in the last 20 or 25 years.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, no matter what you're doing, you can either say, well, you know, this is the way it is and it sucks and it used to be better, or you can go like, okay, how do we go, how do I move ahead? And, you know, let's face it, I'm playing music. I'm doing what I've wanted to do since I was 7 years old.
Yeah. And
I'm finally doing it, you know? And so for me, it's a tremendous privilege. Yeah, it's a challenge, for sure. But at the same time, it's tremendous opportunity, you know, to, like, how much is it worth to meet new people who now become like you guys, like really close friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, what do I really need? You know, my kids are all grown up now, and all I really need is, you know, I need a place to sleep that's clean, and you know, you got to eat in that. But I've met so many great people, and it's challenging, but it's also like, okay, new opportunities. Like, for example, you know, it used to be that I would just travel around. You know, you could just travel around in the 80s, and I did it. You know. I was even teaching school at the time in the early 80s, but we would play up in Halifax, 28 nights out of the month. Well, that's not happening anymore. But so now it's like, well, what do you do? Well, what kinds of things do you do? So there is like, Blues in Schools, passing on that passion of music to the next generation, meeting up with people and hearing their stories. And that's kind of where I started that. We were talking about it there before, the whole Live Center stage, the whole concept of, this time in your life. Like I just turned 60. So this time in your life, it's an opportunity to, almost like being a kid again, where you get to, rediscover your passion, and maybe, whatever that might be, if it's music or if it's, cooking or traveling, or maybe it's learning another language or volunteering or whatever, So all of those kinds of things is kind of, that's where I really get my, I know it sounds like incredibly corny and hokey, but I literally jump out of bed every morning and I just can't wait to get going, but and when you go to bed, you go like, I wish I thought I was going to get more done today, that kind of stuff, right? But it's cool. You get your yayas out, exactly. Yeah. So it is challenging, but everybody, I think, is in the same boat, no matter what vocation you're in. And that's the thing, it's like.
But you're still not working, Dan. You're still doing what you love to do,
that's
buddy.
That's it. That's right. I
mean, I'm 59.
Yeah.
And it's been the last 4 years that I finally know what it is I was supposed to do all my life.
You know what? That's the crazy thing, isn't it, Wayne? It's like it's so exciting in a way.
I'm sitting in a room with two guys and you, but two of the guys that I'm sitting in the room with were in the very first live band that I ever got pumped up about.
Right. Yeah.
And they were the ones that gave me my love for live music.
Absolutely.
And here we are.
Absolutely.
40 plus years later.
Yeah.
And now the three of us are producing two radio shows around live music.
I know. It's like, it's awesome, isn't it? And that's what I say. The passion only grows stronger.
Well,
and I think as soon as you get bitten by that bug, it doesn't have to be music. My dad, it was music and art, but other people, it's they know what their passion is. But that's why I say about this time in your life, it's a time where you actually get to go, you know what, I'm going to do that.
We talked about how much work festivals are, and how everybody that goes to a festival, all they ever see is a band go on the stage, and a band come off the stage, and another band go on.
Yeah.
98% of them have no idea of what goes on in the background for that, and probably 99% of them really don't care.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? But all they want to know is at the end of the day that the band is up there when they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And to keep a festival on track for 3 days.
Well, you know all about that.
But people see me and I'm having fun and they think, well, he doesn't really have a job. But the whole time that I'm doing that, my mind's going.
Absolutely.
And I'm probably 3 hours down the way figuring out what I need for the band down there.
Yeah, exactly. But what a privilege.
You know
what I mean? What a privilege to get to, like, every time that I get up to either play a festival or a house concert or play for 3 people in a bar.
Yeah.
I'm serious, man. Every time it's like, you know what? If you made 2 people or 1 person smile that day,
exactly.
Maybe made their day. It's kind of like, who else? Maybe if you're, after one of these storms and you work for a power company, you get to put big smiles on people's faces. Yeah. But, to have that opportunity to do that every day is pretty cool.
Well, we thank you for taking the time out of your day to come in and talk with us.
Oh, man.
Because if we didn't have guys like you coming in, then we wouldn't have a show.
Well, you know what? I have to say, like, a huge thank you to you guys, because you really support and you really pump up, musicians and the CIOE has been like amazing for that kind of promotion of local and East Coast music. And we were saying at the very beginning, it's all about letting people know, who's out there and that.
Well, that's our goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys do an amazing job of it. So it's my privilege.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we say here on the Wolf's Den, please, please be nice to each other, be kind, and always, always, always hug the ones you love. Now, we're going to have Mr. Dan Doiron's going to play us a couple of tunes to take us out today. So, Dan, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
People
guys.
can find you online.
Absolutely. I'm on all the usual spots, but www.dandoiron.com. I always say like you do iron your clothes. And I'm on Facebook at Guitar Addict and Twitter at Even My Guitar. So,
all right.
All those
and
places.
ladies and gentlemen, if you miss us on CIOE, you can always catch us on the Hidden Gem Broadcasting coming out of New Brunswick, and we thank our listeners up there. So again, ladies and gentlemen, have a great day.
Okay. I hear you up there in your luxury private car, sipping on French wine, smoking fine cigars. We ain't so far apart, we're all playing the same odds. You're just a floorboard away from riding the rocks. Said out, you ride your lucky brakes, I'm riding these brake shoes. Gotta hold on to them tight just to try to make it through. Get me to the next town, I'm playing to the railway guards, so I can keep on playing. I'm still riding the rods. Hey! About to fall through the cracks. You're riding on the cushions to the rhythm of the tracks. Even Honey Boy Edwards Road underneath the boxcars. So a few complications can't stop me and my guitar. Now baby, you could be down here riding with us underdogs, but there's no masquerade when you're riding the rocks. The heat inside of me is like a firebox of dreams, rolling down the line on a full head of steam. Now, get me to the next town, I'm playing to the railway guards. So I can keep on playing. I'm still riding the rods, riding the rods. Hey, riding the rods. I gotta keep on riding. Okay, well, I'm gonna play. I'll play. This is a tune off the new record as well. And I gotta tell you, is it okay to do a story on Facebook Live?
It's your,
all right.
Your game.
So. My mom and dad live in Dartmouth now. My dad's 90, my mom's 88, and they've been like my biggest inspiration and fans, right? But my dad, I first started playing guitar on his guitar back when I was 12. But one of the things that I didn't know, but until later on, but my dad boxed. When he was in university, and so we always, when the Rocky movies would come out, we'd always get together as four boys, and we'd always get together and watch these, and we just took him to Creed 2 last week, by the way. But anyway, one of the things that always intrigued me about the Rocky movies was the love story between Rocky and Adrian. That was, That whenever I'm writing songs, I always put notes in my phone. And one of the lines I had forever and ever was this: "I want to love like Rocky loves Adrian."
Oh, nice.
And one night I was just over at Mom and Dad's, and they just had their 65th wedding anniversary.
Yes.
And I was just looking at them on the couch, and watching. Mom got up and she sort of patted Dad on the head and touched his arm, and I went like, "Shit,
she loves him.
That's Rocky and Adrian right there, It has been together forever." So I wrote this tune for them. It's called Rocky and Adrian. If they made a movie about them, it'd be too good to be true. And they just blush as the credits roll by. That's just what they do. You wouldn't have to wait for a sequel to know what happy ever after means. 'Cause they've known forever and ever, right from their very first scene. You know they got love like Rocky and Adrian, but it's real life, not the big screen. The kind of love that's pure, true, and radiant. The kind of love that's rare indeed. Now they've been up more than they've been down, but they never been out. They count on each other through the joy and the struggle, but their story leaves no doubt. It's like Rocky loves Adrian. This part is true, 100%. You know his wallet, it still holds the photo of their first day at the shore, and the dance card from their first formal ball is still in her top dresser drawer. You know, they've been together since they can remember. It's been more sunshine than rain. Their eyes meet with a smile and a wink. Says, "I do it over again." 'Cause you know, they got love like Rocky and Adrian, but it's real life, not the big screen. The kind of love that's pure, true, and radiant. The kind of love that's rare indeed. They've been up more than they've been down, but they've never been out. They count on each other through the joy and the struggle, but their story leaves no doubt. They're like Rocky and Adrian. It's a thrill to hug her still. She's still a little shy, but when she touches his arm and pats his hair, he knows he's still one lucky guy. They're like Rocky and Adrian. That's my mom and dad. Ah, yeah. That's a true story.
Big, well, that's a lie. The more I try, the bigger hole I dig. Looking for a better day before my time slips away, like a permanent audition for a stumbling musician. I don't know why I stay playing the house band at the Hard Knocks Cafe. I hear you say too loud, you started late. Last week's band sounded great. You got the words wrong, I hate that song. Your sound is out of date. What do you call that shit you play? Gonna have to dock your pay. Your solo blow, play something slow. I don't know Does it make you feel better? Does it make you feel like you won? When you put me down and trash me, telling stories to everyone. After all these tears and sweat, am I blue enough for you yet? You know I tried to show you, oh, just how I feel. You see the turning point is past. But I'm not listening to you, because my time is here at last. Still got my head in the clouds, dream big and play loud. Trust my hunches, I'm still rolling with the punches. I'm still the same, though everything has changed. I'm still the same, keep pushing play. I'm still the same, I'm just rearranged. I'm still the same. I'm not wasting my time wondering what might come my way. Living for the moment is what I heard my brother say. Though I dropped the ball, coming through it all, can't stop trying. If you quit, then you are dying. I'm still the same, everything has changed. I'm still the same, I keep pushing play. I'm still the same, just rearranged. I'm still the same. I still get the blues, but I'm still not done. Win or lose, I'm still having fun. I still play on 10, and I still play fast. I still get crazy and wanna kick some ass. Changed. I'm still the same, I keep pushing play. I'm still the same, just rearrange me. I'm still the same, still the same. Keep on the play. Still the same, baby. What's wrong with taking chances or a shot in the dark? You never know till you try. You know a play starts with a spark. Roll the dice or flip a coin, looking to the future. It could be good, could be great, you know it could be super. But come on now, place your bet. Win or lose, it's time to get into it. What are we waiting for? Let's get into it, like we never did before. Let's get into it, like two kids in a candy store. Let's get into it. Hey! Now everyone wants someone to love, and I want you. Tell me, baby, what do you need? What do I have to do? Well, give me all of your loving. Don't know nothing in. Gotta start somewhere, baby. Now it's time to begin. On your mind, ready and set. Come on now, baby, let's get into it. What are we waiting for? if we knew who was to blame. Would it make any difference? In the end, it's all the same. Who was right? Who was wrong? You're so unhappy for so long. Doesn't change the last chapter, the final verse of the song. No more good reasons to ask how or why. And time blurs the thin line between truth and goodbye. Sometimes dreams feel like a four-letter word. Sometimes stones best left unturned. The end of the book, the final chapter. We still don't know what happens after. That's two different books with two different stories. Both start with